All right, folks. A little bit of jams there. I'm telling you right now, I sat there and had this shiver go down my spine as I heard Beto O'Rourke come out and say, I'm just not so sure that single payer is the good thing, that we're going to, I'm not so sure about it. I'm kind of on the fence about single payer. And so I started doing a little bit of digging, and I realized, number one, I've been called a Russian bot, a Russian troll. I've been called just about everything under the sun as it pertains to criticizing Democratic candidates. Of course, the Greens can't stand when I criticize green people, but I'm equally brutal to Democrats. So let's be real here, right? I may be more brutal to Democrats because I expect more from them. But that said, Beto O'Rourke is one of these guys. He's got that Kennedy-esque look they always talk about. What I see is a kid that I could freaking just haul off and knock out. That's what I see. I don't see a friggin' guy that I want to vote for president. I see a guy who has been born with a silver spoon in his mouth, who hasn't got a clue what it means to want or hurt for anything. I see a guy who is absolutely clueless about what average Americans need or want or anything else. And this guy right here is just such a... He's like everything wrong with politics. And, as I dug through, there was an article that was saying, the problem with Beto O'Rourke is he's got no reason to run. Dude doesn't have a mandate of his own. He doesn't have some driving force behind him. This is a matter of the vote blue machine. The corporate shills. Once again, it's like going to Queen and saying, hey guys, we're not going to do Bohemian Rhapsody because, we realize that the kids like 2-minute long songs. That's what Beto O'Rourke is. Beto O'Rourke is the epitome of telling Iron Maiden to stop singing heavy stuff and go into singing lullabies. That's what that Beto O'Rourke experience is like to me. It is a complete fraud. He doesn't want to be labeled as a progressive, and with good reason. He's not one. So what I did, I went ahead and pulled some articles here. I'm going to go ahead and get past this mugshot of me here, and I'm going to bring you in here, and he says in this BuzzFeed News article, he says, over time, I hope Medicare has the investment and buy-in necessary that people choose to leave employer-based insurance instead of being forced to, O'Rourke said in Iowa, excuse me. So, I started looking at this, and this comes back to this whole point, which I picked up from Slate. And what Slate said was, Beto is missing one important thing, though, an actual reason to run. O'Rourke entered the race as a man without a clear political ideology, a signature legislative achievement, a major policy issue, or a concrete agenda for the country. Those in the know tell The Atlantic that Beto is planning to run as a candidate offering hope that America can be better than its current partisan and hate-filled politics, and that the country can come together. But that, brace yourself, he hasn't yet landed on how he'll propose to actually make it happen. That's more of the same empty words Beto's been offering in public since his loss to Cruz. I don't know where I am on the political spectrum, and I almost could care less, he said at a recent stop in Wisconsin. I just want to get to better things for this country. Well, you got to know what the hell better even means. How do you even know what the hell better means? So let's get back to this single payer thing. This is from a Vox article. And they took a timeline of Beto's stances as it pertains to, Medicare for all. And in a June 15th, 2017 post, he says, a single-payer Medicare for all program is the best way to ensure all Americans get the health care they need. June 17th, 2 days later, he says, we need single-payer health care for all Americans, but that he wouldn't co-sponsor the House bill for single-payer health care because it excluded for-profit providers from participating in the system. Okay, let's start there. September 20th, 2017, he tells the Texas Observer that he likes the Sanders bill but says he disagrees with the lack of co-pays and premiums for all Americans. He'd prefer that Americans kick in something. This jackass would prefer we kick in something. Folks, the people that call out Beto O'Rourke a Russian troll or a Russian bot have exhausted their value to society. They've exhausted their purpose in life. They serve no purpose. Their value is nil. Getting up in the morning is a waste for them. Going to bed at night is probably more productive. They are absolutely of zero value. Because I've tired myself of the bullshit backmouth, the lip, from people that don't know what it means to suffer, who don't know what it means to hurt, who don't know what it means to be without critical things like healthcare. But they have things to say about people that are fighting tooth and nail for their own existence, for their lives. But they dare say something about the pretty boy from Texas who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth and is now one of the upper 1%ers. They dare say something. Well, guess what? I'm neither Russian, I'm neither paid for, hell, I'm broker than broke. I'm an American citizen that loves my country and loves my children and loves humanity and despises neoliberal shills like this sellout, this pile of junk. So let's keep going with old Betamax here. Speaking at an event at the University of Texas, O'Rourke outlines a 4-step plan for getting to universal coverage. Step 1 is keeping Obamacare. Step 2 is expanding Medicaid in all 50 states. Step 3 is a public option. Step 4 is something similar to Sanders' Medicare for All bill. If we could get to the last step tomorrow, I would take it in a second. O'Rourke said at an event, it's important to be be as idealistic and describe as accurately as you can the vision, the goal we want to get to, and then be pragmatic about what it's going to take to get there. Now, folks, on this one issue, I don't necessarily take any umbrage here. I don't take some sort of exception to the idea that implementing these things requires a transition. So in describing the transition, sure, I get it. There's got to be a transition. You don't just cut one day and go to the next. There is a transition, or you have chaos. But he's not talking about a transition. He's trying to quell your desires. He's trying to hush you and diminish your dreams. He's trying to tell you, just suffer a little bit more quietly, will you? Us Republicans will tell you when it's time for you to worry about your health care. In the meantime, here's some peas. Eat your peas. So October 9th, 2017, Jeff Stein, then a reporter at Vox, now at the Washington Post, asks O'Rourke if he would support Sanders' bill should he win the Senate race in Texas. The answer is, yes, I would, O'Rourke tells him. November 6, 2017, O'Rourke does an interview with the Young Turks where he talks about how to get universal coverage. I'm not an expert on this by any means, but the only way I understand is to have some kind of single-payer model, O'Rourke said, and the best one going in the United States now is Medicare. Dude's like all over the map. He goes on to talk about the possibility of starting with a Medicare buy-in that would eventually transition to a full single-payer system. What's his fetish with buy-in? What's his fetish with a pound of flesh from the already sick and the people, the regular people that are desperate for care? What is his lack of knowledge of economics? How does he not know that the United States is monetarily sovereign? How is he this stupid? Because he's really not fighting for anything. He's just sort of up there saying things that I'm sure they're fattening his wallet, and the puppeteers are just dancing this boy along. So anyway, March 16th, 2018, O'Rourke tells Bill Maher that healthcare is his number 2 priority. Universal health care, the ability for everyone to see a doctor regardless of income, he tells Maher. So you're for single payer, Maher asks back. Beto, if that's how we get there, that's how we get there, O'Rourke responds to Maher, and notes is a big if. So July 14th, 2018, a Politico story notes that O'Rourke no longer uses phrases like single payer or Medicare for all, instead replacing those with universal, guaranteed high-quality health care for all. Now, if he was going for a national health service like what they have in England or something to that effect, shit, I'd be blown away. But that's not what Jackoff here is doing. That's not what he's doing at all. He's dumbing you down, and it gets worse. I'll tell you here in a minute. And he's like, so what's my vision? Universal health care very likely will involve some form of a single-payer health care system, some expansion of Medicare, perhaps from where it is right now at 65 all the way down to 0, or I'm open if somebody has a better way to do this, including especially Republicans. I'm open to their vision of how to get there. He then goes on to talk about adding Medicare to the marketplace as a public option, as a step we can take on the road to getting universal health care. December 19th, Associated Press reports O'Rourke has endorsed single-payer health care but says he doesn't support Medicare for all because expanding the program could adversely affect current recipients. Interesting, huh? How? Don't you just want to tell this guy to shut up sometimes? I've reached out to O'Rourke's campaign to ask where he currently stands on Medicare for all, and we'll update the story, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so, he goes through this whole thing, and at the end of the day, he is in no way, shape, or form, for going Medicare for all the way that, Bernie Sanders is or anyone else. He's ready to wheel and deal with Republicans to find out what they think. He's not really interested in single payer. He's concerned about the for-profit insurance companies. He is concerned that we all should pay into this. He has no interest in health care as a right. Because what if you don't have money to pay into it? I mean, again, a neoliberal is a neoliberal is a neoliberal. And you could say whatever you want. You can come up with a million excuses. I've been around Democrats for my whole life. And I've watched the ones that are sycophants, that vote blue no matter who, that make excuses. Make excuses. Fucking make excuses. And then want you to be the bad guy for calling it out. Aren't you tired of that? Aren't you disgusted with that? I know I am. I can't stand it. I mean, I literally cannot stand it. I don't know how people sleep at night. I don't know how they get away with being this disgusting, that they try and dumb people down and try and tell them to suffer quietly. I don't get it. I don't get that kind of mindset. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it's a perverse, abusive, it's disgusting. I mean, you talk about a dehumanizing thing. For me, the people that do that have forsaken their value to society. They have. They have forsaken their value to society. I don't know how to look people like that in the eye and at the same time see them as just another human being. It's so hard to look past the rage inside. How do you look past the rage inside as they tell you to suffer quietly? I'm serious. I want you to think about what I'm saying. This is a point blank, you do not go forward without embracing single payer. This Obamacare thing has been devastating. I've not been able to afford the things I need. How about you? How about your co-pays? How about any of this stuff? Folks, let's be real progressives and freaking get single-payer health care. To what end do we hedge our bets and start making excuses for not going after single-payer health care? I don't get it. I don't get it. At some point in time, maybe progressives will be able to stay focused, stay driven, stay firm in their convictions, and not allow people to dissuade them and vote for somebody like Beto O'Wrong. I mean, there are plenty of really, really bad neoliberal candidates that have announced. But Beto might be the emptiest promise yet. He might be the emptiest suit out there. The least progressive candidate of the bunch. And I don't know how to answer this stuff any better than that. As a progressive who stays in here 7 days a week, fighting to try to help make people understand that our nation can not only afford nice things, but to show you clearly that it's up to us to make them happen. When I see someone like Beto get supported by large swaths of the establishment, and quite frankly, I've seen people that I've been, quote unquote, on the same side of the issue with, somehow or another finding an excuse to support this guy. Beto, who supports the oil industry like you wouldn't believe. You're not going to get a Green New Deal from this guy. Hell no. He is absolutely not our friend at all. I don't care how winning his smile is. I don't care how good at tennis he might be. I don't care how many old school punk rock songs he might have sang. Beto O'Rourke is a fraud. So with that, I hope you guys stay firm in your convictions and hold these people accountable to single payer. Because if it ain't us, nobody else is going to do it. That's for goddamn sure. Nobody else will do it. Nobody else will do it. They will all equivocate. They will all find an excuse not to keep fighting. They will all find a way to make an excuse for why they're going to support this neoliberal shill. And let me tell you right now, the man is a Republican, pure and simple. Don't let that D in front of his name blind you. He is a Rubicon. He is 100% a conservative, right-wing, neoliberal Republican. And I'm telling you right now, it's one thing to support a progressive Democrat that's actually fighting the system. It's another thing to have somebody telling you basically to shut up and triangulate and make the people suffering look like assholes while he cajoles the people that are not suffering and kind of pats them on the head and says, it's okay, we're not going to take... these guys over here just are being unrealistic. Fuck you, Beto. I'm out, man. I can't deal with it. I'm out. I am out.